Has everybody got a notification to say it's been recorded?
Yes, thank you.
Does everyone get notifications when someone joins the lobby? Because it just keeps on coming up on my screen. I don't know if that's happening to everyone else.
Yeah, this is the person that we're trying to get in, that one of my colleagues is trying to help in. There's only one person waiting now.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, so if I go back to sharing the landing page, here we go. So this is where students and yourselves register on the day. So any booth owners or students will come onto this landing page. Students will have to register. If they've already registered, they will log in. And the same with yourself. You've already been given a login, which was sent by VFairs to the person who created your booth. They would have created all the reps, names and passwords. Now that's been sent to yourselves by VFairs. And so if for some reason you don't have that information, if you try and make sure you get that information before the day, so you're not trying to search for that information before, so you can log in either on the top right hand side or in the bottom here. So students and yourselves would log in via here. So I've already obviously pre-populated, so I'm now going to log into the actual event. So that's how you get on in the day. That's how you get into the event on the days. When you arrive to the event, the first page that you come into will be the entrance hall or lobby. So these avatars will be moving on the day when it's a live event, so it makes it a lot more 3D. And from here, you can navigate around the whole event. So at this stage, I'll just briefly show you what students are going to have a look at on the day and what they're going to see. And then I'll show you how to get to your booth. So from the entrance hall, students can go to the presentation area where we've got a variety of webinars. They can go to the help desk, and so can yourselves, because the help desk is going to be manned by someone from VFairs, as well as myself, Nick, Rianne and Becca. And we're there all day, the live event 10 till 4, both days, to help any questions that you may have. And you can click to the help desk there. There's going to be a short video from our Associate Director here, and then students can have, there's certain links to like a mini brochure that's going to be here, webinar agenda, chat rooms, and then there's a navigation bar at the top. So again, students can either use the navigations around here or go straight to the navigation bar at the top. So on the day, when you've entered the entrance hall, you'll then go, I need to go to my booth. So you find your booth by going to the exhibition hall, again here, or you can click here on the exhibition hall link here. Now this will take you to the virtual exhibition area. So all your booths are here. We have 104 booths that have all been created, and they're all here. So students and yourselves can navigate left or right. Alternatively, you can find your booth here by having a search A to Z on this information here. I might mention this to everybody because I know some people have recently joined us. My colleagues will be answering questions throughout the training. So if you have any to ask, please do type in the notes box. If you want to wait till the end and speak your question, you're very welcome to do that at the end. If not, we can try and answer some questions as we go along. So this A to Z here is where you find, so if say for example I go to my help desk, because that's where we'll be based, I've now entered my help desk booth. So this is where you'll see if you've got any links or any documents or anything here, they'll be on this navigation bar here. I'll show you some of your booths in a second. Actually, I'm going to show you an example of one of your booths. So if I say, for example, go to Halma, hello if you're here, you can see here that the Halma booth has on the navigation bar, they've got some certain links to usually these are outside of the event. They've got videos that they've uploaded, documents and job vacancies, as well as their job description. So this is exactly what students will see. And if students want to apply, they can click on the job vacancy board there, or they can go here to a job search function, which I'll show you later. So if I go back to my help desk, so when you've arrived to your booth, and you want to, the main thing about this event is the chat function. So you're at your booth, you've already created this, you've already given us the links and the documents, that's already done. You haven't got to set your booth up on the day. What you need to do is to chat to students. So you then go on to the chat function here. So you'll be able to see that chat function for all your booths. You click on the chat function, and this will now take you to the chat area where you'll be able to have conversations with students in this chat area. Now, Rhiannon and I have already had a conversation previously, and because we've had the conversation previously in this group chat function here, it saves anything that you save, anything that you say in a group chat will be saved for any students to scroll and view. But at this stage, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Rhiannon, so we can have a chat between Rhiannon and I on the chat function here and explain it in more detail.
Hi again, everyone. So if I just talk you through this chat room, so I'm going to start by looking just at the right-hand side there. So you can see any representatives from your company that are online and in the chat room will automatically appear in the booth reps list at the top there. And I'm just going to flick quickly to another one that I'm working on at the moment. So I'm actually logged in as a student. So what I'm going to do is just pop to the help desk chat room. And hopefully I should have appeared, on the online users list. So from the online users list, any students that have entered your chat room, you can click on their name and their whole profile will come up. So Tracy, if you could just click on Hanan, just for an example, please. So because this is just a test profile, there's not much information in there. So we've just got an email address and a name. When you click on the students' profiles, you'll be able to see what they're studying, what year they're in, their CV if they've chosen to upload it. So we've not made it mandatory for students to upload their CV, but we have kind of heavily recommended it. So you'll be able to see. So you can see all of their information, and you can use this from their profile to then instigate a chat if you'd like to. So even though students need to request to have a private chat with you guys, you have the ability to request a private chat directly with students without messaging it into the group chat. Lovely. So I'm just going to pop, if you could pop out of there, Tracy. And I'll quickly just take you to the left-hand side of the screen. So you can see you're going to have a list of any direct messages that you've had with students. So any conversations that you've had previously with the students, you'll be able to click on and go back and see your chat history in exactly the same way that you can go and be in the public chat room also. So moving on to the middle, which is the public chat room. Oh no, we're on me. If you, sorry Tracy, could you go back to the public chat room? That'd be wonderful, please. Great stuff. So this is the area that's kind of most similar to a physical fair. So if you kind of had a stand at one of our physical fairs, you know, you wouldn't just have one-to-one chats with students, you'd have groups of students coming up to chat with you, and it kind of could be quite an organic conversation that's formed with a few students at a time. So the ability to have one-to-one chat with our students is a complete bonus of the fact that this event is virtual. So as Tracy said earlier, you can go back and you can see the full chat history. One thing we'd really recommend when students message in a question or anything like that, if you select the actual message that you're replying to, kind of similar to WhatsApp or something like that, then as you see here in the grey box, you're actually directly responding to that query. So if we've got 3 or 4 student questions coming through at the same time, if you reply directly, then it's going to be quite a lot clearer in the conversation what has been replied to and what hasn't been replied to. Something that we've really recommended for our internal booth is that anyone who's online has some kind of group chat going on in the background. So in our careers and employability team, we're going to have a group Teams chat for anyone that's kind of attending the fair, because not everyone is going to be attending the full 6 hours. We're going to have people who might just do an hour or two here and there. So in that private chat, you can kind of decide who's going to pick up the messages, who's manning the public chat room, whether or not you're going out for private chats with people and making the rest of your team aware that that's happening. Because even if you go into a private chat with a student, you'll still be appearing in the booth reps online. So it's just about being as organised as possible, really, and making sure that there's a balance between private chats and people answering queries in the public chat. Something that we'd kind of recommend would be maybe having a shared spreadsheet, again, for anyone who's manning your booth, where you can kind of put in all the appointment times and the different representatives that you have. And then if anyone comes on, you've not got availability for a public chat right now, you can actually say to that student, we can pencil you in at 2 o'clock. I'll make a note at my end, and then you can kind of still have the private chat with them. So that's just something we'd kind of recommend, is having a group chat in the background and a shared document in the background, so that that's so that you guys can stay organised and know what's going on if you've got several representatives on at once. Something we've also recommended to our careers and employability team is that before you go off for a private chat with a student, maybe you might request what they'd like to chat about, because if they've got a question that's really directed at your recruitment process, you might want to make sure they're speaking to your HR manager or recruitment manager. Whereas if they've got something maybe more directed at what the day-to-day role might be, then you might want someone from that department or someone from the operations team or management to be having that private chat with them. So again, that just gives you a really good way of staying organised and making sure that, you know, you're not wasting time with the wrong people speaking to the students about what they'd like to speak about. So, I mean, you can see here we've had this conversation going in the background. So I'm going to just type in quickly, Tracy, can we please have a one-to-one chat?
Rianne, do you mind if I just add something as
Please
well?
do.
So students cannot initiate a one-to-one chat. Only yourselves as the booth owners can initiate a one-to-one chat. So students can ask to have one-to-one chats. If you have availability, great. If you don't worry. But you're the person that can actually initiate a chat with that student. For example, you can have a student that's in your booth. Any student that is in your booth, you'll see here on this online usage, you can view their profile and actually ask to speak to them as well. So you don't have to be in a conversation with them. You could ask to speak to a student if there's somebody of interest that's come in. You can then email that student here, which obviously we'll show you in a second, and ask to have a chat with them. Students cannot initiate the actual conversation. They can only request one. So carry on, sorry.
No, that's a really good point, Tracy. And in all of our student comms that we've put together, so any training videos or manuals or kind of resources we've provided, we've really reiterated to students that there might not be availability to have one-to-one chats, and it is a bonus of having a virtual fair, but it's not, you know, not necessarily all one-to-one chat requests are going to be possible. So we have really honed that home with the students, haven't we, Tracy?
Oh, yeah.
Lovely. So I've just messaged in, hi Tracy, please can we please have a one-to-one chat? So Tracy's using the reply button to reply directly to my message. Wonderful. That's just popped up for me. So I'm going to reply directly back to Tracy. Discuss your company's recruitment So at this point, hopefully Tracy will direct me to the right person to talk to discuss your company's recruitment process. And Tracy is that person, which is fantastic. So she will then select my name in the online users list and select chat now on the right hand side, or go into the profile and select chat. So at the top here, you can see there's like various options. So either Tracy can just send me a message in here and we can carry on communicating over text, or we've got the options at the top here that you can give them an audio call, which is what Tracy's hovering over now, or that you can select the little camera and do a video call. So sorry, let me just flick between. Hi Tracy, I don't know if this is working or not with the call within a call.
Oh, sorry, pressed the wrong one. Oh.
Okay. Oh, so I'm
Go back to the help desk. Here we go. I need to go back to where we were. Sorry, I'm going back now to here we go. I'm going back to the page that we were in just now. I come off the call instead of your face on Teams. Sorry, they were both there at the same time. I couldn't get your. I couldn't get to stop the call. Cut you off Teams. So this is the this is going back to where we were. It's basically telling you that the call started, and then from here as well, you can download the student's profile, or you can view the student's profile as well. So while you're chatting to them, you can see the student's profile.
Lovely. Great, so that kind of goes through most of the chat function. There's also the option at the top there to change your colour of text if you find that easier. So you can select from a list of kind of different colours, and it might be easier for you to choose a different colour because then you can easily spot which the messages you've sent, which the messages the student sent, or again in your main booth you could have different departments or different people representing different things in your organisation. You could add a colour code to that, but again that's probably more for your benefit than it is for anyone else. Great, so I think that kind of exhausts everything I have to say about the chat function, Tracy.
I just want to add one more thing, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
So when you're in the virtual fair, so you're in here and you go into the chat function, it opens another tab at the top. So it actually, when you finish with the chat, or if you want to stay in the chat but you want to go back to the event, it actually you go back to the previous tab. It opens another tab, a separate tab here. So I think that's probably at this stage all I want to add. We will be given, I've given a basic guide about the chat, but because we've been really training and learning ourselves over more so the last week, we've come across extra bits that weren't in the manual. So we're going to create a specific chat user guide, which is what I think most people on the day will need. So again, telling you about how to make a call with a person, how to have a look at the student's profile, how to download their profile, how then to go back to other conversations that you may be having. We'll give a guide on the day as to navigate yourself around the event, which will help, and that will come next week, and that should hopefully help you with this chat function.
Yeah, the only other thing I want to add is you guys can actually log in now and chat amongst yourselves if you want to, just to give it a little practice. And what we'll probably say is if everyone can stop doing that, maybe the day before the event. I don't know if you want to give a stricter deadline to that, Tracy, or not. And then we can contact VFairs and get everyone's chat history completely deleted and removed so that you're going to a blank canvas on the day. But it is definitely worth having a login and just chatting amongst yourselves, getting used to the difference between the public chat and the private chat, and just doing some testing really your end and just getting really comfortable with it. Thank you, Rianne. Really appreciate that. What I would like to do is now talk about the housekeeping that I've been emailing everybody over the last few days.
and why it's so important. So when students want to, say, for example, have a chat and they want to go to the chat room where we just were, which I didn't really need to click into there, they will see booth reps online. So as you can see, I've just got Tracy Strudwick. Now, if you're a student, they don't know who Tracy Strudwick is. They don't know that where I'm from or anything. So the reason that we've asked you with your booth rep names is to put your company name first, is that when they see booth reps online, they're not just going to see Tracy or Joe Blogs. They're going to see, say, Apple Joe Blogs, or it's going to be a very much easier way for students to go and have conversations with you if you have your company name first. So again, that's what I've basically, in the information I sent last week, what I've reiterated, if you can make sure and ensure that that's been done. The other bit of housekeeping is to, and apologies that I never made you aware of this at the beginning. And again, this is something that's just come about once we've started to use the system ourselves. When students go to, when students go to look for documents, they can have a look at documents here. Now, as you can see, our University of Southampton Careers Employability Service guide. So that's easy. Students can go, I want that. I'm going to save that in my save resources, and I'm going to read that later. If you haven't put your company name first, it's not really clear, or made the document clear. So obviously some of them are fairly clear. They don't necessarily need a document to them. They're very specific to what they're after. But say, for example, here, it just says intern, presentation or document. Students aren't going to know at a glance who that's for. So if I save document and if I save intern presentation, when we had our students use the event the other day to give us their feedback, their main feedback was when they go to their save resources, which is like their goodie bag, they can't then see, oh, I've saved that, for which company or what's that about? So that's why I've asked you to go back into your documents and rename them, that they're clearly either from you or they're very clear what the document is. So that's the other bit of housekeeping that I've asked to do, that's come about since we've had the students really use the VFairs platform. And until the students are using it, it's really difficult for us to know what's the best way to do things. So to go back in, but I think it's for their benefits. They can, when they're looking at documents, they can search by documents. So they can say, I'm going to have a look at American Express's documents. Brilliant, I'm going to save that, fantastic. But it's just, again, when they go to their briefcase, which they can, their save resources, which they can access for 30 days after the event, it's going to be easier for them if their documents are very well named. And then the other thing, if I can take you back to the exhibition hall, and I'll show you our careers help desk, our careers desk for an example. Oh, it's at the bottom, sorry. So we've got University of Southampton Careers and Employability. So in your booth here, you would have maybe put links behind. So I can see here that there's a link behind that picture, again behind that picture, and again there's links behind these. Please check if you can before Friday that all these bits on your booth are correct, because from next week you won't be able to change those yourselves. Again, there's links here, so if you can check that all these links are working, that your documents upload okay, that just makes for more of a successful event from your point of view, because it's a shame that you've maybe provided these documents or you've given us this information, and because there's maybe a letter missing or the link's not working, the student won't get the full benefit of your booth, and this booth will stay online for 30 days afterwards. So we need to make sure that that's correct. Now, I know, again, I emailed and explained how you go back and do that. The person who originally set the booking up would have been sent the original booth link set up. So that's how they set the booth up. To make any amendments, you have to use that original booth link set up. And I can supply that if you have no longer got that. Again, taken that to one side, when your booth is done, you then don't have to worry about that booth link set up, because the rest of it is just your login, your rep name, which is your email address and password, been set up for you by your colleague who was setting the booth up, and you just log in like I showed. So I think that's basically the sort of whistle-stop tour of the event. You can go in now, your booth rep owners, and have a look around yourself. A really good idea to get used to the event before, and again, check your booths and make sure that everything's working. So if I stop presenting and go to questions, and let's have a look. So Nick, are you okay to sort of help and let me know where you've sort of jumped into? Oh, I can see here.
Yeah, I'm just updating. Helen Buckley asked a question on the check-in login details for booth reps. I thought when booth reps were set up, they received an email with links and login details.
They did. It's just not all booth reps. It's just that it goes to on one email with a table. It goes to the person who set up the booth. If you're stuck, if that person's not around or they're on annual leave, please email us and we can supply that information, because we will have that information for you. And then if I just then go to the next question, Helen, sorry. So Raj, how far prior to the fair can we make changes to our booth? Only till this Friday. So it's 3 days prior. So obviously we have the weekend, but as far as working days go, it's till this Friday. If you have any urgent amendments, we can maybe contact VFairs, but the deadline we've been told is this Friday to make amendments. Well, 3 working days, which would be Monday, which would take us to Sunday, sorry. So that's why we're saying Friday. How do you change the name of document? Does it have to be done by the person? No, it doesn't have to be done, but you have to do it via the setup link. So we can supply the setup link if that person who set it up hasn't got the link anymore or is on. We can supply you with the setup link. It hasn't got a password, so you can just click on the setup link and make those amendments yourself.
Tracy, just to mention, I'm liking questions that I can answer in the text, so please go to the next question which doesn't have a like by it, and but you're doing a great job responding, I think.
Okay, yeah, perfect. I think I've gone down, I think, to where they were. Brilliant, thanks Nick. So how do we put links behind the pics on the booth, please? Again, that's going via the going to the original setup link, and there's a guide that I gave you. So when it says documents, you put the document in, and then there's a URL function next to the document. Again, I created a guide, so if anybody needs that guide, I can send that guide to show you how to put the links behind the booth pics. And we haven't submitted our graphics element. Deadline for submission again Friday. Jackie, it has to be Friday. Oh, sorry, Nick, you've answered that one. You've mentioned we can search by CV students' profiles. How do we do this? Great question. You'll only be able to have a look at that when the student's in your booth. So that's the permission that we've given to that students have given us, that when they're in that company's booth is when you'll be able to see that student's CV and profile. If they're not in your booth, you can't search for that student. And then when they leave your booth, again, their profile details have gone. However, you can, once they're in your booth, you can download their details. And then do we have opportunities to deliver presentations outside the chat functionality? I can see there. There was an opportunity, but unfortunately that time's passed now. So due to the build time that's required, we had to sort of have a deadline with offering that out to people. So our webinars are now full, but we do have, as a team, outside of this this great fair that we're having, we have a employer engagement team, and we deliver employer events in October and November to our students. And I'm sure that if you email the fairs or employee@sutton.ac.uk, I'll pop that in there. We can speak to you about maybe doing a presentation with our students. October's full up, but we have vacancies in November, and then we have a spring events program as well. So I'll just pop the employ if you want to speak to somebody with regards to employer engagement. I sent our webinar video yesterday. Could you ask someone? So, okay, Nick, can I get you to? Oh, you've done Daniel's, brilliant. Can we add animation motion graphics? No, that would be great, I think, but not at this stage. It only allowed you to put pictures, and they had to be JPEGs. So our video calls only possible in one-to-one chat. Yes, they're only possible once you're in a one-to-one chat with students. So if you want to have a video chat with that student, you need to request a one-to-one chat with that student. Lucy, you mentioned we can search for CV student profiles. Oh, again, I've done that. I've covered that. You have to do it when the student's in your booth. You can only search for CV student profiles when they're in your booth. Once they've left your booth, you'll no longer be able to see that student's profile.
Tracy, can I ask? Dominique has a question. If a student comes to the booth and not available to chat, and then they navigate away, does it record their details as having visited? And can you ask them to chat when you are free? It will, I believe it will have recorded them visiting your booth, but you may not be able to see that and enable the chat until all of the stats are taken afterwards. Or Tracy, are you aware of anything else on that question?
I think you're right, Nick. However, I do think that's a question that we need to ask Aladdin to get full clarification on that, because it's a really good question. We haven't really, I'm not entirely sure that I've seen that with our training. So we have weekly meetings with VFairs. I have one on Monday. So we'll ask our VFairs project manager that question, and we will drop that into this Teams chat, which you can access after. We can give you the answer.
So yeah, and just on that, that's a great point, Tracy. Just to say, I know there's quite a few things that we don't know the full details to. This is all new to us, as we know it might be new to yourselves. But I've got a list of the questions that I need to check in on from James Patterson, Sarah Ingram, Tara O'Brien, and now Dominique. So we'll make sure we try and resolve everything as soon as we can, and obviously send it on to the individuals and add it onto the chat.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have a meeting on Monday at 11, so we can update you on Monday afternoon. Is there any other questions that anybody wants to verbally, rather than go into the sort of chat function? If anybody wants to sort of raise their hand. So, Sarah?
Sorry, I can't see how to put a question in. I can't see where the thing is, but sounds a bit basic probably, but will I just be, so I'm just doing an hour with occupational therapy students. So will I just be on the screen like I am now as a camera, and they'll be talking to me, asking questions, or is it only that we're going to be doing these chat things? So I won't actually be looking at people and they won't be seeing me?
No, it's just a chat function unless you ask for a one-to-one
right.
chat. So it's exactly as I've just shown you.
You're not actually like almost there visually like you would be at a normal careers fair. You're literally just doing a typing thing.
Yes, unless you decide, or the student asks and you're available to have a video chat, or you're able to have a video chat at request. You requested a student to have a video chat, then the VFairs has an in-house video function, and that's when you have that video chat with that student.
Okay.
So if, say for example, you're busy, our careers team are probably going to limit one-to-one chats to about 5 minutes to be able to make sure they can have quite a few video chats with students within their time.
So I would just sort of sit and wait at the screen for someone to engage with me then? Yeah,
that's about the same as you would on a physical fair. So you'd wait for people to come to your stand.
We had a similar question though, in terms of how we're encouraging our students to be proactive and ask questions, and it's a really good point. We've been trying to include it in all of our marketing, all of our prepare for the fair sessions, but once students do enter your booth, you can also reach out to them. I know you would at a physical fair, do try to engage and ask them how they're doing, and that can hopefully help break the ice if there are any slightly more reticent students or students who aren't quite asking as much as would be helpful.
We have Rianne and I created a video which you just hear our voices for 5 minutes, but it is an educational video for students, a video guidance training guide, and I can share that with yourselves, and you can see from that video how we've been training students to navigate and chat to employers. I can sort of let you know at this stage, and this is amazing because it's not even the main week leading up to the fair where generally students then get involved. We have over 1,000 students booked on already, which is fantastic. So we have been actively promoting it. Our student comms, the main university student comms have been working, closely with us and helping us promote that, as well as our employability leads, because obviously we're on this virtual world and we may have some students back on campus, but because of the pandemic, a lot of our normal marketing. So we've really strongly gone out with our relationships that we have within the university to help us promote this, and it's been greatly successful. So we hope that we have a fantastic number of students and you're too busy, which would be great. Okay, so Mike, if we're testing the chat function before the fair, can we clear all messages before it goes live? Yes, great question. We'll make sure that happens, that we clear the chat function before. I think it's up to us as what are we? Booth admins. That's
booth
right.
admin.
As booth admins to go and clear people's chats, which we will ensure that we do, because we've got lots of chat on ours too. So if everybody is happy with that, then that would be great. Catherine, I can see your hand up.
Yes, in regards, obviously I created the booth, so I'm there, but how do I get other colleagues to be able to join the fair and then be able to talk to people and run the chat function?
You need to go back into your booth and add your where it says booth reps. I think it's stage 2 or stage 3 of the setup process, and add them in. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just responding. So Stephen Strang asked about 1,000 students total, and absolutely that is usually the number, I believe, for the health sciences fair. But one thing I'd say to that is for our physical fairs, we had between 4,000 and 5,000 across our 2 days last year. We've never had the opportunity to have students pre-register and give us an idea of demand on the build-up. So this is slightly new territory for us, but we are confident with our all-student email and the marketing and promotional activities that Tracy has mentioned earlier, that will only grow. We know this is a great priority for the university, for our students and for yourselves. So we'll be doing all that we can to ensure that it's a successful day as possible.
I think that's a positive sign, because that means that's 1,000 organised students. We will probably expect a lot of students to register and log in on the same day. So they will register and log on. Oh, it's a fair, I better sort of log on and register on the same day. And that's generally what I think majority of students will do. So I'm just, extremely happy that we have 1,000 organised students so far. And it's not even a week yet. It's a week. So I think it's great news. Has anybody else got any questions whilst we're here and you can pick our brains? So,
Tracy.
Yeah.
This is Antonio from MathWorks. I just noticed that the booth reps can edit their profiles. So just like a short period. How visible is that to the students? Do you recommend that they write something there? Should we write something in there?
You need to write, in my sort of training manual, so you need to write the company name first. So say, for example, so which company are you from, Antonio, again, sorry?
MathWorks.
Artworks. So you say Artworks, Antonio, and then that's MathWorks, did you say?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. MathWorks first as the company, and then Antonio. So you always put the company name first, so then the students know which company that they're speaking to. So that's when you do the booth setup process. In the booth name, in the rep's name, you do before you put your first name, you put the company name first. Is that okay?
I think that's been done by my the person who set up the booth for MathWorks, Amy. But yeah, so my name shows up as MathWorks Antonio. I'm talking about a different space, which is there's a profile description, where you can put, I guess, a short bio.
Yeah.
Do you guys require or recommend that we write something in there? It's empty at the moment for me.
Yes, please. Yeah, I would, because that's where that's how students will be searching.
Okay.
Thank you. And so what happens next is we will be sending out a user guide specifically for the chat function to go along with the user guide that I've already sent out about how to log on to the fair. The other thing that I really would ask, and I know I keep emailing, but if everybody can just double check that their booth links, documents and everything are named correctly and working before Friday. We don't mind the emails coming in to ask us for information, like as in login details or what's your error, because we need to, ideally we'd have these all fixed by close of play tomorrow, and then that way your booth is as good as it's going to be and the student experience is going to be as good as it's going to be. So really appreciate all your effort this last bit to get us ready for the fair next week. And then the final thing is that myself, Nick, Rianne and Becca will be at the help desk, like I said at the beginning. So at any time, if you've got any queries, please come and see us. It'll be lovely to chat to you all. Thank you. Thanks. I think that's it. I think we can wrap up.
Fantastic. Thanks all for joining. Much appreciated. Do take care and give us a shout if there's anything we can help with.
Yeah, great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Tracy, I know you have to shoot off. Please go ahead. I can stick around for a little bit if there's any kind of questions as people are leaving. But Tracy, Rianne, thank you very much, and Becca as well for responding.